Over these last days, there have been stories told about amulets, charms and talisman, and it's believed that we have reached somewhat of a consensus to recognize in the occult sense that an amulet is something that we wear to ward off evil spirits or bad luck or some such, and that a charm is just that. We use a charm to charm people, or we use it as a transmitter to impart charm. But rather than look at what a talisman is, which the question has already been asked, let's see if we can take a quantum leap from the occult into the metaphysical or the mystical meaning of what a talisman is for us. Now, most, I think, know that the spiritual master that I was with for some years, and who was called the Divine Mother, was the receptacle of the power of the great saint Ramakrishna, and her designated task was to complete the work of Ramakrishna in the world. But Divine Mother had something that she would say very often. She would say to all who were gathered, "Don't worry, I've transmitted the tapes inside of you and they'll come out when they're needed." But the strange thing was, Divine Mother never taught anything. She never had any teachings of any kind. And her method of sharing was just to tell anecdotes of the effect of Ramakrishna on individual lives, and that means herself, and the stories of ordinary people and the way that that interaction had changed, relieved, helped, healed their lives. So one can ask, what did she mean when she said, "I've transmitted all of these tapes inside of you, and they'll come out when they're needed"? Now, if we look over these years and the numbers of stories that have been told, knowing that there's no teaching here, and perhaps one could say that there's a possibility that some of us, or several of us, might become storytellers and impart stories to others, but it's not really likely. So the same question could be asked, well, let's tie it into a talisman. What is the real meaning of a talisman? And relative to this, and now is your chance to be able to give expression to what your talisman is. Because if we look at it in that metaphysical or mystical sense, no, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Because now, in this environment today, we have the possibility of being able to dance, sing a song, tell a story, whatever it is that comes to us. And with that, there's the possibility that we can now recognize what the real meaning of a talisman is for us in relationship to what Divine Mother was saying. Now, it's not said that I've transmitted these stories to you and they'll come up at a due time, but it's clearly recognizable that there has been a continuum here. So that continuum creates a lineage of sorts. But because there's no teaching behind it, there's no purpose behind it, we have now the chance to give expression to what the real meaning of a talisman is. And so I challenge you to do so now, And in the coming days,
you know you're it. You're it. You're the bloody talisman for all of us here.
there's something to that also.
There is.
So whilst we don't have and would not claim there to be a lineage to be able to grasp what it is that's here, that we for the moment call a talisman, is needed to stand up and be counted. So we have a chance today and in the coming days to do so, not just in this environment, but in the environment of life itself. It cannot be said that it's not until another time. Now is the time, without getting into details of what the influences in life are at the moment. We don't need to do that. But we do have to stand up and be counted. And that means to wear our talisman and have it there for all to see. So now is your chance. Tell us a story, do a dance, sing a song, whatever it is that comes for you, if it feels right to do so. I'm handing over the microphone. The recorder.
Can I say something? Jasmine went on her school camp and took her guitar, and she went over to practice to sing for the school, for her class, and all the children followed one by one, and she was practicing happily as she does at home. And she said to me, half of them, and then they started saying, "Oh, you're just showing off." It's such a, I said, this is the challenge when you do celebrate something that you love. It will be confronting for people. So, and then it started a bit of a drama, and I said, just continue doing it because you love it. But there's a point where you do feel stopping because it's too challenging for people. So keep on singing, Jazz, because she loves it. Yes. And needless to say, she got up and sang, and it made everyone feel fantastic.
I've been meditating on that story you talked about last Tuesday, and then next day when I was sitting and I had a feeling of that, because I teach Aura Soma, and in Aura Soma teaching we have these three balls related to the body, and one ball is on the head, and the second ball is about heart, and the third ball is on the basement. And then I thought charm is really something like you said charm the other people, so it really felt like a blue ball. Mm-hmm. And then of course amulet is that like wearing to the heart and relate to the heart, to the feelings. And I thought talisman would be the being ball to do with our basement, right? So, and the color is blue, yellow, and red. Then after you talked about just now, I felt that talisman is some sort of guide or teaching to connect with us to our inner teacher, mm-hmm. or being. Mm-hmm. That's what I...
Wonderful.
I'm going to say something.
Sorry. For me, I've been going through the process of building this house, and it showed me things that I knew already, but it was interesting to watch. And for me, when I was a kid, they would say, "Oh, Christine's a daydreamer. She'd do all right if she weren't a daydreamer, you know." But I thank God I'm a daydreamer, because really it's been something that's guided me through a lot of processes. It's only when I fight that I go totally wrong. And during the process of building this house, I just look at it and think, oh, how's that going to work, and what's going to happen here, and all this. And it just, I mean, there was almost 3 months delay in the building of this house, and none of that stuff seemed to really send me into a spin. I just watched it. And so I think that for me, my talisman must be that I'm a daydreamer. Off with the fairies, and I thank God for Off with the Fairies, and for everybody here, thank you. Yeah.
Daydreaming, just going on from Tina's words, daydreaming is actually another term for meditation. I don't feel that a lot of people disregard that, and it's actually very, very powerful. And I feel also our own inner peace, that the ripple effect of our own inner peace has such a great impact on others, and it goes on and on and on, and it affects the entire world. Beautiful. Has anybody got else something to add?
I committed myself of going in the street and through the clown, opening doors, well, there's so much. It's just spontaneously I feel that through the workshop we had done, there is a clown in me that has never expressed, and now it's time, and it's really with this faith of sharing the magic of the moment. So there I go very soon. I'm preparing my clown with Danny, and voila.
Stories.
I think, of course, I will have to say something because I'm just like that. Because for me, if I really look deep within, my whole thing really is one, to make people comfortable. That's one of my abilities that I have, that, without, my head is big enough already with my hair up, but it can be actually quite big. And the other thing is really, I have the other thing that is the thing to make people laugh, because as soon as people laugh, they immediately feel comfortable, and that is some power. That is a gift that really, just in case you haven't noticed, I've got it. So I'd like to thank everybody for acknowledging that, and I would just pass this on for anybody else who would like to acknowledge their gift.
Yes, indeed.
Do I sit here, Randy?
Yes, please.
Make it the hot chair. Yeah. I'll just hobble over here.
Well, thank you, Bonnie, for leading me into this, because because I also feel I have a gift to make people feel comfortable, and I've used that gift in my life in the position of a teacher. Although I've never wanted to be a teacher, I've never felt responsible enough, I've never felt committed enough, I've never felt I've known enough. But whatever happens, I end up in the teacher's chair, and I'm about to finish that role of a teacher, and just at this time I'm going to retire. And just as I'm leaving that kind of labelling, I suppose, I kind of recognised about how I've managed it. And that is because in moments when I feel that I have such a burden of responsibility in the defined position out there in the world of being in that role, I have recognized that all my inspiration comes from the beautiful gift of this wonderful world and the great wonder of all around it and in pure existence. And whatever we conceive that to be and whatever time span that fits into. And whenever I have been lost for inspiration, a walk, a sitting, a piece of beautiful music, a beautiful flash of light over the canopy of the forest is enough to fill me with so much energy that I can do anything.
Jesus, Bonnie, you're a taskmaster.
Okay, if we could use the hot seat, that would be much easier for me. Thank you.
Yes.
Alrighty then. Well, I'm just a little nervous now because I didn't think of really anything before I said anything. But I suppose over these last few years, through various experiences, whether that be positive or negative, I suppose I'm fashioning myself in a way to be a storyteller, because most of you know that I'm a budding composer and that I'm going to be going to the conservatorium in Brisbane very soon. Yeah, thank you, Annie. But it's just really interesting to me to know what can actually be used to fuel my material, whether it just be through negative experiences that I've had, like say depression or anxiety, that can be used to fuel a source of material that can be used as an expression, or whether it be something positive, whether it be through other people, or whether it be something simple as a feeling. I feel I can express that through the power of my music, the power of my composition, and composition, luckily for me, isn't the only gift that I've got, because yes, Bonnie, I've got a big head. So what of it? But yeah, you guys know that I sing, and also you guys know that I am the plentiful comedian of the bunch, or the comedianette. Cuckoo. Yep. Anyone else willing to share their own little gifts or their own little talismans?
Is it loud when they do? No?
Come on, I can't take this seat up forever, you know.
Oh, you want to, don't you?
I really don't know about that.
Does anyone have a story? No, there's got to be a storyteller amongst us.
That was a story in itself.
Did that get you?
I was under the impression it was what about me?
What about me? Yes. The topic was what about me? Has anyone got anything to say about what about me? Did anything come to mind?
Not the phone, that's for sure.
Hmm?
I just don't like the camera.
Ah.
Yeah, come on.
Don't have to like it, it's just
I haven't got a plan either.
Sorry, camera.
So at the moment I think the stories are the talisman, but I had to look it up on the internet the other day, and I thought, I don't want to do this bloody homework anymore. But I want to know. So I googled these words, talisman and amulet and charm. I was pretty sure about charm, but that was related to the story I've heard the other day, and it was a kind of a spellbound for me, like a spell. Then came the word amulet, and I go, all right, I can kind of understand what they're saying. And then talisman, and I go, no, I'm really confused. Because they were kind of saying, so you can have a amulet. I can't remember really, but kind of written on the amulet, and then it's a talisman, and I go, great, I know that one. Because I always get mixed up with words, and for a start, I don't really want to separate them. And yet, if you talk about it, this is all about kind of separation. But I somehow, after listening to the stories as well, I got this deep sense for that the talisman is including all the others. And it's way deeper. Of course, the story was also about the shawl and the Tibet, so I had my thoughts about that. And Mount Everest was one of the things I've heard myself being into. What does it mean? We're all looking for a resting place for our mind. So Mount Everest is really a symbol for that. But even there it went deeper. It's like, oh my God. And I've read something. A talisman is not is chosen and given. So somewhere there is no difference in there. And this is where I can't grasp it anymore. So I have my little notes at home, of course. So I can't, and I won't be able to, and now I won't be able to. And it just, yeah, what about me?
Yes.
I can't grasp it, I can't make sense out of it, but there's still that, what about me? And it goes beyond that. We want to know, we want to be, we want to charm, we want to know. It's huge. And it's still that, what about me in all that? So it's kind of related.
Yes, it is indeed.
So I didn't do my whole homework, but it was pretty impressive.
And somebody who didn't want the microphone, you didn't
No,
really well.
you bet I will never look at that video. Hey, yes, and this is really part of it.
Yes,
And
yes.
it changed over the years. So the was given. I had no idea about Buddhism, kind of. So I thought, I have a real big homework to do. So I tried all that with the guru stuff and da-di-da, and I was really impressed in love and divine love and wow, and then it fell apart. The hardest, there was one moment when I had to go to hospital. I've never been to hospital, getting an injection, and a very painful time for me. And I remember I told you when I came back here, the hardest thing was, and I had the in my earring at the time, I had to give away, because you're not allowed to have it. That was the hardest. So there's definitely an attachment. At one stage I was so angry I swallowed it. I somehow want to get rid of it, but I didn't.
Put it back on.
I just had to wait 3 days.
There you go.
Indeed.
And now it has a friend. I found a friend in my cupboard.
Ah, beautiful.
Well done.
Well done indeed. So any more what about me? Thank you. There'll be more. There's that.